We're arguing about one thing, and now all of a sudden, we're talking about something completely different. We started arguing about the laundry or bedtime, and now we are pulling things from 5 years ago, saying things we regret, or going completely silent. One of us is chasing the other around in the emotional room, and the other one is hiding behind the metaphorical couch. We all have a default fight style. And no, fighting as a couple doesn't mean that we're doomed. But how we fight, that matters. We are not just talking about fighting fair. We're talking about how conflict can be a mirror, one that shows us everything that we've inherited or fear and everything that we want but are too scared to ask for. Hi there. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Parenthood and Relationship Podcast. I'm your host, Markella Kaplani, a psychologist, a parenthood and relationship coach, and a parent myself. Together, we explore the transformative journey of parenthood and its profound impact on our relationship with ourselves, our partners, and our children, so that we can be present and show up as we envision without having to do more. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the Parenthood and Relationship Podcast. If you didn't catch last week's episode 64, on how even good intentions can hurt, I invite you to go back and give it a listen. That episode was the foundation of what we're building on today. And while we're on the topic of repair and reconnection, if you haven't downloaded my Intimacy in 5 Minutes guide, it's waiting for you in the link in the show notes. It is short, it's simple, but it's actually usable, and it's helped many couples bridge the space that's formed between them. And while you're at it, you can also sign up to the Sunday Reconnect. It's my weekly newsletter, nothing fluffy, all connection building. Now let's get into this thing that we call fighting. There's this belief floating around that if you fight, then there's something wrong, that happy couples don't argue, or that conflict means you're not compatible. Let's bust all of that. Conflict is inevitable, especially when you have kids and sleep debt and decision fatigue and two different upbringings trying to co-run a household. What matters isn't the absence of conflict. That's not the goal. What matters is how we move through it. Because conflict isn't just about disagreeing. It illuminates unmet needs, emotional bids that were ignored, as well as patterns that may feel all too familiar. Let me introduce you to James and Helen. These are fictitious names, of course, but the case is real. They came to me because they felt stuck in a loop. Helen wanted more emotional presence. James felt constantly criticized. She got louder, he got quieter. And then they both said the same thing. We can't talk without blowing up. But what was really happening was a dance of protective parts. Helen's protest came from fear of being alone or abandoned. James' withdrawal came from a deep sense of failure that he had learned to hide from. Most of us didn't grow up seeing healthy conflict resolution. We saw yelling or avoidance, or one parent always winning. And so we developed styles, such as the pursuer, who needs resolution quickly, pushes for answers, sometimes escalates. Or the withdrawer, who shuts down, avoids the tension, needs space but rarely asks for it in a way that is conducive to the other person listening. Then there's also the peacemaker, who hates conflict, agrees quickly, but then simmers underneath. And the blamer, who feels powerful in their anger but often masks deep shame. None of these are wrong, none of these are flaws. However, they are strategies. They're protective mechanisms that once worked. They helped you survive childhood, but they don't build intimacy in adulthood. Take Stella, for example, a mom of 3. She would get ice cold in her fights with her partner, Peter. She didn't yell, but she was sharp, controlled, detached. When we explored it, she realized that her dad used to get scary when he was angry. So she had to learn to disappear. Her adult version then reflected emotional shutdown. Understanding your style and where it comes from is the first step toward changing it. So now I believe it's time that we get into what happens inside conflict. Every disagreement has the potential to either open up space for intimacy or deepen the walls of a misunderstanding. We often think that the problem is what we're fighting about. But the truth is that the issue is how your protective parts are reacting underneath the surface. For example, when your partner raises their voice, your body might prepare for defense. Not because of them, not because you're scared of some kind of abuse, but because it reminds you of a parent who used to get angry, who used that as control. Or when your partner pulls away, that may trigger panic in you, not because you need constant attention, but because maybe as a child, withdrawal meant abandonment. These are not conscious choices. They are reflexes. They are the nervous system doing its job to protect you from perceived harm or from real harm. But unless in the now we become aware of these reflexes, we will keep on reenacting the same old story. Our nervous system is still in alert. Think of conflict like a house fire. Most couples are arguing over who started the flame, who lit the match. But the real danger isn't the spark. It's the kindling that is piled up in the basement. The old fears, the unmet needs, the unspoken resentments, those are the flammable materials. And when the fire begins, it spreads through what's already there. Rupture is when we notice the fire early and grab a hose. Repeat is when we let it spread because we are too busy blaming each other to stop the burn. When we start to see conflict this way, we stop asking, why is my partner like this? And instead, we start asking, what story is it that's playing out here? And how can I pause it? Repair happens when we treat conflict as a doorway, not a dead end. You can say, I think I'm reacting more from my past than to you right now. Can we slow this down? I want to respond instead of replay old scenes. I want to understand what this moment reminds me of. These aren't tricks, they're invitations, and often they can change everything. So, here is your take-home practice. We'll call it the conflict reset. Next time a disagreement starts building up, try this sequence. For one, name the pattern, not the person. Say what's happening like you're observing it from the outside. For example, I notice we're falling into that thing where I chase you and you pull away. Then use a body check-in. Literally pause and ask, what does my body feel like right now? Am I in fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Just noticing it helps. Lastly, ask this question. Do I want to feel right? Or do I want to feel close? You can share this question with your partner too, not to weaponize it, but to anchor both of you in something bigger than the argument. To wrap this all up, I hope that you walk away from this episode knowing now more than ever before that conflict isn't a sign that your relationship is dysfunctional, rotten, or doomed. It's a sign you're trying. But if you want to shift from trying to actually transforming the way that you connect, then start with this small pause, with the naming, with the reset. And remember, you can grab my guide that gives you all the ways that you can achieve intimacy in just 5 minutes by going to markelakaplani.com/intimacy in 5 minutes, 5 written as a numeral. This guide pairs beautifully with this month's theme, and downloading it actually gets you into my Sunday Reconnect, my weekly love letter where you get one insight, one exclusive tool, and one 3-minute reset each week. I drop so many good things in there. Next week, we go even deeper. I'll walk you through how you can speak in a way that your partner can truly, actually hear you, even when you're bringing up something that is hard. Until then, be kind to yourself in these messy moments. That is where real change begins. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.